Welcome to all of you guys, and thank you for coming and agreeing to join us today. I'm really happy you're here and that you're giving us your time today to come and learn more about what it is like to be a developmental disability services case manager. So I'm going to start us off with some introductions. So for me, if you're able, I want you to drop in the chat for me and tell me your name, your current occupation, only if you feel comfortable sharing that. You do not have to. And then tell us your favorite holiday activity. So I want you guys to go ahead and start dropping that in the chat for me. And I'll go ahead and introduce myself while you're doing that. My name is Miranda Hutchison. I am the business analyst for Developmental Disability Services, and my favorite holiday activity is Dirty Santa. I don't know why, but I love to play the game. I think it's really fun. So let's see what we got coming into the chat. I see some people typing. Christmas tree decor. That's great, Natalie. Okay. Brian says he loves decorating. See people typing. Driving to look at lights. Oh, I know. I love lights. Great. We have a special education. Oh, yes, that's fantastic. You love hiding presents as a scavenger hunt. That is great. Christmas lights. Marie, you're a DDS home provider. That's fantastic. And you love decorating the fur. All right. Alan, you are a recruitment manager for DHS and you love eating the holiday dinner. That's great. We've got a physical therapy assistant. Fantastic. And it's those Christmas lights again. All right, you guys go ahead and keep dropping stuff into the chat there. So throughout this presentation, I want you guys to use that chat to drop in questions at any point in time. We're gonna hold off on answering questions until the end, but as you think of those questions, just go ahead and drop them in there. I've got Ryan Stewart on here who's going to wave hi to all of you guys. And he's going to be tracking those questions to make sure we don't miss any of those. And I also have Wendy Bowen on here, and she's going to wave hi as well. And she's going to help me answer questions, as well as Alan, who is with our human resources. So he can wave hi as well. If you guys see me looking this way, it's because all of your happy faces are on this screen, and then my presentation's over here. So just so you know that. We will be together for about 45 minutes today. I'm going to be very cognizant of that time because I know a lot of you are using your lunch hours in order to join us today. So I want to be cognizant of that time we spend together. I will be using two acronyms today I want to tell you about. The first is DDS, which stands for Developmental Disability Services. And that's who we are, right? The other one you're going to hear me use is IDD, which stands for Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. And that is the population that we serve. I'm going to have Ryan drop those acronyms into the chat there so that you guys have that as a reference as we go. I'm going to do my best not to use any other acronyms during our conversation today, but if I happen to accidentally sneak one in, please drop something in the chat. Say, hey, Miranda, you use an acronym. I don't know what that means, and we will make sure we clarify that for you. So, all right, well, let's get started with just an overview of what a case manager is. So, a case manager is responsible for managing a caseload of people with IDD who live and work in their local communities. So they do not reside in institutions or facilities. They all live in the community. You will be responsible for managing a caseload of between 30 and 40 people, but I don't want you to worry about that. When you come in on as a case manager, it is a very slow progression to get up to that 30 or 40 people on your caseload. It will probably take 6 months or so. It just depends on your comfort level. And so you really only gain a case or two at a time. So don't worry about that large number to start with, all right? As that case manager, you're going to act as that central hub. So it's going to be your responsibility for leading and scheduling those team meetings, which we'll talk a little bit more about. You'll also be responsible for coordinating the services and supports for the people on your caseload. Another big job that you will have is you will be responsible for being an advocate for that person. So you're going to be working with that person and their team to help make sure that they're living their best life, right? That's so important. So in that role, you might be helping to advocate for change for that person because they're not satisfied with services. Or you might be advocating for things to remain the same because the person doesn't want things to change. You'll also be responsible at times with working with other Oklahoma organizations like the school system or with other organizations like the Department of Rehabilitative Services. So I want to take a really quick pause and I want to use this chat again. And in there, I want you to drop in the chat for me and tell me about your experience working with people with IDD. So drop in a few things in the chat for me there. So feel free to drop that in and let's hear from you guys about that. And I'm going to go ahead and keep us moving. So one of the things that I really like about working for DDS is that we get to work what's called a hybrid work schedule. And what that means is for a case manager, you'll spend about 50% of your time at work in your home office, like I am today. And you'll spend that time doing documentation work, completing trainings, and other computer-related work. The other 50% of your time, you'll spend that out in the community, visiting the people in your caseload in their homes or at their job sites or conducting team meetings, any other related business. And we call those types of activities in the community, we call that field work. So you're going to hear me use that term throughout our conversation, is that field work, when we're out there interacting directly with the people on your caseload. You'll also be required at times to come into the actual physical office to complete trainings or to do one-on-one work with your mentor or other activities as directed by your supervisor. Working for DDS, the state will also issue your own laptop to you. So you do not have to worry about having a laptop in order to work for DDS, which is pretty nice. The Oklahoma Human Services will also issue you a cell phone. And that's what you will use to conduct all of your DDS related activities, because we do not want you using your personal cell phone for any of those state related activities. The state also offers us the ability to reserve a state vehicle to help you avoid wear and tear on your own car. However, I will tell you that that is a first come, first served reservation process. But don't worry, never fear. If you're not able to reserve a vehicle through the state system, you can use your own vehicle and you will be reimbursed for mileage. All right, I'm going to look at a couple of these in the chat. Marie says, I have worked with individuals for more than 15 years at Del Rogers Bios in my own home. That's fantastic. Crystal, 8 years working as an in-home as a house manager in HTS, 2 years working with DDS for in-home training and PT, 8 years in home health training. My goodness, you guys have some fantastic experience. Allie says we serve those with employment and education services. We serve 16 years and older. Fantastic. That is some great experience. Okay. All right. Now remember, if you anytime you guys have questions, drop those into the chat. Ryan is tracking all of those for us. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about what a case manager does. So I had mentioned those field visits, right? So just as that role as an advocate, those field visits are going to be a really big part of what you do as a case manager. For those visits, you're going to be going out into the community. You're going to be visiting the people on your caseload in their homes and at their employment sites, and you're going to be monitoring several things. You're going to be monitoring to make sure the person's needs are being met. That you're going to be looking for any kind of health or safety risks. You're going to be looking to make sure the person's receiving their services as prescribed in the plan. And then, of course, you're looking to make sure the person is actually satisfied with the services that they are receiving. So it's a very important role you'll play as a case manager. One thing we always want to remind people is that when we're going into other people's homes, we have to be very respectful of their space, right? The people we serve have invited us into their lives, and that's And they're sharing a lot of personal information with us, and that's a pretty big deal. Working for DDS, I'm going to tell you, is really, really fantastic and unique because we are serving people for their entire lifetimes, for that whole lifespan, not for just one period in their life, but forever. So we get to be in that unique position to help watch people grow and to achieve those hard-earned outcomes, such as getting that competitive job or finding ways to increase their independence and autonomy. I mean, it's a pretty great thing to be able to be part of. I had mentioned to you guys that you'll be responsible for conducting team meetings. So there's two types of those types of team meetings. The first is the annual planning meeting. And that's where you and the team are planning and looking at the whole year. Like what types of services and supports is that person going to need for the next year, right? The majority of those meetings will happen in person. Now, there will be times let me correct myself. The other type of meetings that you'll encounter that you'll be responsible for doing is what we call interim or addendum meetings. And those meetings are kind of like a mid-year meeting. And they occur because there needs to be a change in that plan, because the individual and the person is experiencing a life change. There's been some kind of health change or behavioral change or some kind of change in their circumstances that means that that plan needs to be changed. And so the majority of those interim meetings will occur via Teams and what we're using here, or via email, just depending on the complexity of those needed changes. As a case manager, you're also going to be responsible for a lot of documentation. So I'm not going to lie, you will do a lot of documentation. You will be responsible for documenting all your activities as a case manager in our client contact management system. You'll also be writing assessments and writing plans, but you'll get a lot of training on how to write all of that information. And one thing that is really great about working for DDS is that every day is different. There is no 2 days that are alike. And that's because we're dealing in human lives, right? And there's nothing stagnant about that. So I want you to drop in the chat for me. Now, tell me what you like about social work. So drop that in the chat for me. I love to serve. Great. I know I do too. I love social work. I just love working with people. All right, I'm gonna let you guys drop those in the chat, and I want to tell you, let's hear what Terry has to say about social work.
Being a case manager is great. And one of the things is that you get to love on people and to see someone light up after being able to provide some type of services for that family. You should feel like Superman or Superwoman or Wonder Woman. Why? Because you're able to go back and put a smile on a kid's face, put a smile on a parent's face. It makes all of the difference.
I just adore Terry. I see some more stuff, helping people reach their full potential. Absolutely. Love meeting people where they are and helping them become the best. I love that I can be that voice for the client and watch them make it in life. Oh, yeah. I love helping those that are in need and give them a hand up. With resources to help with their life and financially stable. Oh, yeah. I love enabling people to access services and seeing those aha moments when things come together. I know it's aha moments. All right, great. Okay, so now that you've heard all of these great things about working for DDS as a case manager, I know your next question is, all right, Miranda, how do I qualify for this job, right? What do we need to do? It's pretty simple. You just need to have a bachelor's degree in a human services related field or a valid permanent Oklahoma license as approved by the Oklahoma Board of Nursing to practice a professional nursing. We also require that you have 1 year of paid experience working with people with IDD. So that could be working as a para, working in the special education, as a therapist, as a direct support staff, program coordinator, or any other type where you're being paid to work professionally with a person with IDD. We also require that you work within 70 miles of that duty station. And when we say duty station, we mean those county offices. Obviously, we don't want your duty station to be Oklahoma City, but you live in McAlester. So we want to make sure you're working out of that office in the McAlester area, right? We also ask that you have reliable childcare. Like I said earlier, you're going to be spending about 50% of your time out in the field. And so you need to have reliable childcare so that you can fulfill that job requirement. And also, emergencies might happen, and you need to be able to leave your house to respond to those too when needed. And since you're going to be out doing all that fabulous field work, of course, you're going to need a valid driver's license and car insurance. And then finally, if you are hired, we will need a copy of your official bachelor's certificate or a copy of your official transcript. That's just a requirement we have. Okay. So and now remember, as we talk about this stuff, keep dropping those questions in the chat for us. So next, let's talk about those key attributes and things that we're really kind of looking for in those new hires. We get asked that question, so we wanted to make sure we address that as well. So we're looking for people that are highly organized. You guys are going to have a lot of information coming at you, and you need to be able to make sure that you can organize that information into a meaningful manner so that you can manage your job duties and your caseload. So that's really important. We also are looking for people who are compassionate, right? This is social work, so we definitely want people that are compassionate. You're going to be encountering a lot of different people in a lot of different situations, and they're going to be asking you for their help. And so you've got to be able to be patient and be ready to listen. When you work for DDS, we are a judgment-free zone, just like they say at Planet Fitness, right? People we serve and their families, they've been judged all over the place by other people, and we certainly don't want to be part of that. We're here to help. Another thing that we're looking for is people that are ready to learn. I said you're going to have a lot of information, and you're going to need to be receptive to learning all of that great information that you're going to be getting. We want you to ask a lot of questions. I promise you, there is no way at all that you will ask too many questions. So we expect that. And you're going to be assigned a mentor for you that is going to be always available to help answer those questions. And then you're going to have people all around you that are going to be available to answer all of your questions. So don't worry about that. We also ask that you have the ability to use, or you're willing to learn how to use Microsoft applications, because we live in Microsoft applications. You're going to use Outlook for doing all of your email. You're going to use that for scheduling and calendar and your invites, and all of that is going to happen in Outlook. You're going to use Microsoft OneNote for your organization and for your note taking. And then, of course, you're going to use Teams like we are right now. So you guys all passed that, right? You're all using Teams right now, because this is the platform we use to conduct those virtual meetings and do some of our training. We do that via Teams as well. And we use the chat function. And then finally, we want people that have the ability to pivot when things happen. As a case manager, you might walk in and sit down at your desk and be like, today I'm going to do this, this, and this, and in this order. But by 8:30, you're tossing that list out the window because an emergency has happened. So we need people that are able to kind of pivot on the fly. All right, I'm going to take a pause there. And what I want you to drop in the chat for me now is how you were feeling. Are you feeling excited about the opportunity to work about a case manager? Do you feel confused? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel excited? Are you ready to tell me where you to go to apply? Just drop in the chat. Tell me how you guys are feeling right now. Inspired. Yay. Love that. While you guys are dropping in those in the chat, I got to tell you, I have worked for DDS for over 15 years, and I will most likely, 95% likely, will retire out of DDS because I love this job. I love who we work for. I love our population. I just don't see myself going anywhere. I've been doing this for a long time, and I love it. Motivated, yes. Ready, that's what I want to hear. All right. This is the field that I belong in. I 100% agree. I happened into this field, and I am still here today. I can imagine my life anywhere else. Okay, keep dropping that in there, y'all. Okay, so let's hear what Elise has to say about it. Oh, wait, Crystal says, I am excited for a career change and have a special place in my heart for people with IDD. Yay! All right, thank you, Alicia. Okay, let's hear from Elise, guys.
I love advocating and working with my client population and just seeing them finally achieve goals that they've been working towards for years. And then to watch them do it is just such a wonderful moment.
Yay! Elise is good, people. All right, you all. Okay, let's talk about those benefits because, of course, we want to know what those benefits are, right? Another great thing of working for Oklahoma Human Services and for DDS is that we have a flexible work schedule. So if you need to flex out some of your time to attend a doctor's appointment or other things, you can work with your supervisor easily to be able to do those things. We also have flexibility when it comes to setting those standard work hours for you guys. So for me, my work hours are 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. For others, it's 8 a.m. to 5 or 9 to 6. Just really depends on those needs, but it has to be within reason. And of course, it has to be within your supervisor's approval. Of course, we're not going to allow you to work midnight to 8. We don't do overnight work. All those hours have to be during the daytime. One thing we're pretty proud of is within DDS, we have built a pretty good supportive work environment. People come and work for us and they're like all the time, I've never worked somewhere where people are so supportive. Everywhere they look, somebody's like, ask me if you have questions. I'm here to help. We are always here to help, and we're pretty proud of that. At Oklahoma Services, there are always learning and growth opportunities from advanced mentorships to LinkedIn trainings to other development trainings. And then on top of that, DDS is a growing division. You know, if you've seen us on the news, we're working our wait list. And so there will be opportunities for advancement within DDS. Another important thing is that we have healthcare benefits that includes a stipend. So coming into Oklahoma Human Services, you will receive a healthcare stipend to help pay for those healthcare benefits. And that stipend includes money to cover your dependents as well. For me, I have my husband as a dependent, and the insurance is great. Makes it very affordable. Also, after you've been with Oklahoma Human Services for 2 years, then you are eligible for what we call longevity pay, which is really kind of a retention payment. It's our thank you for staying with the agency for that period of time. And the longer you're with Oklahoma Human Services, the more that longevity pay actually increases. Okay. And then another thing is that Oklahoma Human Services allows us to accrue sick and annual leave every month. So every month you will accrue more of that time, and it does not expire. So in a lot of other jobs, that accrued time expires at the end of the calendar year. That does not happen here at Oklahoma Human Services. That time continues to accrue. All right, good. I see people dropping in good comments and questions, so keep that going. All right, so the last thing I want to cover with you guys before we start looking through all of these questions for you all is let's talk about that training, because I know that is a big question, right? You guys have been in positions where you've walked into jobs and you just kind of got thrust into things and you didn't feel really prepared to do the job. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen here at DDS. We're going to do your best to help make sure that you feel really good about the job that you're doing and you feel prepared, right? And so every new case manager goes through our academy. That's what we call it. And it's a 5-week intensive course where you'll be doing some online trainings and some virtual trainings and possibly some other trainings in person. And those trainings are all provided by expert DDS personnel that are going to help walk you through that. And all of the information you're going to be receiving during that academy courses is going to really help lay that foundation for you guys to help build up your understanding of what it is to be a case management, how your job duties work, and all of that. Another wonderful thing that we do for everyone that is a new hire is we assign them a mentor. And so that mentor is going to work right alongside of you. They're going to be checking in with you. They're going to be helping you, providing you training. You're going to go in the office and meet one-on-one with that mentor, or with your supervisor to do some of that hands-on work so that we can make sure that you're grasping everything that you need to learn as a case manager. And so we really want to make sure we set everyone up for success when they come in as a case manager. So with that, I will have Ryan drop this link into the chat. This is the link to our application process. When you go there, I want to tell you there will be a whole long list of different jobs. Look for the jobs that say case manager, and the jobs are all listed in order of the city that they're in. So if you're living in Oklahoma City, scroll down to Oklahoma City and find the case manager job under there. So what I'm gonna thank you, Ryan, you dropped it in. I'm gonna stop my screen share so we can all see each other, and let's look at all of those questions. All righty. All right, Ryan.
Yeah, some of these questions we've covered in your very thorough, good presentation, Miranda. Thank you. But I feel we'll go through them all just so we can kind of touch on them again because it was a lot of information kind of at once. First question we got was, is the iPhone you're issued an iPhone? Or is the phone you're issued an iPhone?
It sure is. It is an iPhone. As an Android user, I have had to learn how to use an iPhone, but I have been successful. So yes, it's an iPhone.
I see Alicia was excited by what was just said, but she asked early on, training on paperwork. Everyone says they offer training, but is it really training?
It is. It really is. Wendy, did you, I see you shaking your head. You want to add anything to that for us about that training?
Yeah, the first day you start, you meet with your mentor and your supervisor in most cases. And your mentor is the one that's going to be doing most of the training, but they are with you. Like they are willing to meet in the office every day. You'll do Teams meeting, and the training never stops. So you can be here after a year, and there will be things that come up that maybe you haven't had before or anything, and your mentor, your team is there. And so it really never stops. But yes, there is definitely training. They go over every document. They go over every situation. They do home visits with you at first. So you're never just thrown in the deep end, sink or swim. It's, you definitely do get training.
Thank you, Wendy. Great. All right, Ryan, what's our next question?
Why specifically a nursing degree?
Sheila, are you able to answer that? I think it's within our agreement with the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, correct? Okay.
Yeah, and I can't really give you a specific answer as to why that fell into that. I would say it's probably something from their regulations, but anyway, it's one of the things that we had to agree to in order to get our funding, and so we're a little bit locked into those definitions. We're doing some research to see if there's any, wiggle room on some of that stuff. But right now, those are the requirements in order to be a case manager. You either have to have one of those bachelor's degrees in one of those related fields or that nursing license.
Thank you, Sheila.
The next question we got was, what is the distance for each case manager's service area?
That is going to really range. I can't give you a really solid answer on that. It's just going to depend on where you live, where the people are that you were assigned to on your caseload. I mean, it could be 5 miles, it could be 10, it could be 40. It's just going to depend on where the people are located. Sheila, go ahead.
We try to keep them as close to you as possible so that you're not traveling. However, sometimes we're short case managers and we've had to assign people halfway across the state for temporary periods of time. So I can't promise you they're always going to be within a 20-mile radius. But that's our target. I mean, we want to keep people as close as possible, but they're just, and also there's just some places, like if you're covering the Panhandle, you're going to travel because we don't have enough people out there needing cases to put a bunch of people out there close to all of them. So people are traveling, so it really depends on where you live. If you're in Oklahoma City or in Tulsa, you're probably going to have a closer caseload than if you're in Broken Bow. I mean, you just are because where people are located. So I'm with Miranda. I can't give you a real good answer, but we do our best to give you people as close to you as possible so that you're not traveling any further than you have to. Although some people really like traveling. And so, if you get it and that's really your thing, let us know because we can give you the traveling caseload versus the person next to you that hates to travel. Like we try to work with people on those things and accommodate people as much as possible.
Thank you. Brian?
What if I don't have a bachelor's degree? I've volunteered and worked with so many people with disabilities and special needs. Do they hire anyone with hands-on experience? I love doing work like this, and I quit my paying job as a tutor translator to do this type of work.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry, our hands are tied. It is a federal requirement for that bachelor's degree. We have, and we continue to have discussions on how we can employ people to help in this field with us at DDS that do not have a bachelor's degree. We have not found a solution for that yet, but hang in there with us. And I am so sorry that.
But we do have other positions
that
are
is true.
related that
There
are
are
not case managers. So, for example, I don't think so like if you wanted to be a foster care specialist, so we have people who go out and monitor our foster homes and set those kinds of things up. I believe you can substitute years of experience for the degree requirements. Alan, am I correct on that? Social services specialist?
Correct. So there are a few jobs with DHS to where you can have experience that is outside of a degree, and we can substitute that to give you an end to the agency.
So reach out to us and we will help you see if we don't have another position that might work for you that's related. It wouldn't be case management, but we're always looking for good employees in all of our positions. So we might have a different position that works for you.
I'm going to put my team's email in the chat. If you have any other questions about employment, just reach out to us and we'll be happy to help.
fantastic. Thank you.
The next is, what hours are typical or expected?
Hours. Okay, say that again. I'm sorry, Ryan. I was trying to unspotlight myself.
Okay. No, what hours are typical or expected for a case manager?
40 hours. It's a 40-hour work week.
But it is, as Miranda said earlier, flexible. And so, most people work 7 to 4, 8 to 5, 9 to 6, something like that. But we do allow some flexibility with that. And so it's something you just would work out with your supervisor. It is more or less a Monday through Friday job. And I think I saw, and Ryan hasn't read this question yet, I think I saw somebody ask about evening visits and stuff. There are some families who cannot meet with you during the daytime. So there is some need to do some work after hours or maybe on a Saturday or something. Occasionally, that's pretty rare on the weekends and stuff. More or less it's Monday through Friday, but you might need to do an evening visit one day because that family just, can't meet with you until after the parents get off work or whatever. So just know that it's not hard and fast on that. But again, we will work with you as much as possible to accommodate your schedule as well.
Thank you.
Did cover the next question, which was the evening home visits.
Mhm.
Is the insurance health choice?
Alan, you want to answer that one?
So I'm sorry, I missed the question. Is the insurance health choice? That is not going to be our insurance provider. I believe is going to be Blue Link through Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's who we go through. We do have a few other options, but I don't recall the one that you mentioned on there.
I
But if
use
you have
Health Choice.
questions,
Health choice is one.
It's one.
There's a variety
Okay.
of options, and depending on where you live in the state, you might have more flexibility because some providers are not really available in some of the more rural areas, and then you kind of get locked into one or another. But Health Choice is one of the options,
awesome.
but there are others.
We do have a benefits department. So the email that I dropped in there, if you have any more questions specifically about benefits, just reach out to me and we can get you to the correct person.
Would we need higher than a BS degree to move up like a master's, or will it be the years in the position?
The years and it's the bachelor's and the years of experience. It's your experience. No, you do not have to have a master's or something to be able to advance.
This one was, what is the human services field involved? I have an LLB and 2 masters.
What is an LLB?
No.
Bachelor in Law.
Oh.
I bet, Sheila, we could probably make that one work. So
Alan's probably the one that can talk to some of that better than us. It looks like he's looking it up, maybe.
Yes, so we
Yeah.
can accept any degree but a human service degree, and that is going to be, so the degrees we cannot accept are any physical sciences, natural science, biological science, or mathematics. So as long as your degree falls outside of those 4, we can accept it.
you're good to go.
Great
Can't
question.
wait to see your name on the applications.
These are great questions. How often are appointments set for each consumer to follow requirements?
It'll range. So some of the people on your caseload, you'll only be required to visit every 6 months. Some quarterly, some every month. And then some, you might not be required to visit them but twice a year. But because of things that are going on in their lives, you might be at their house every week. It just really ranges. But it's going to depend on who's on your caseload and what types of services and supports that they're receiving. But it could be, like I said, semi-annual, quarterly, or annually, just depending on the type of services that they are receiving. So, and then be prepared to make visits in between when needed. So, good question.
What if traveling isn't an issue, but the actual driving? I don't like to drive. Must have a driver's license?
I mean, you're going to have to be able to travel and drive. Sheila, did you want to add anything into that? You look
Well, I
like
was
you
gonna
do.
say, that's another situation. For case management, it's an absolute requirement. However, we might have another position, again, reach out to us. We have, if we don't, DHS certainly has positions that do not require you to travel or to drive. So, we want first dibs at you, but we'll share with our sister divisions if we need to get you hired with us. But yeah, there are positions that don't require that. But case management is not one of those. You have to go out to people's homes and to their work sites and stuff every month. Well, depending on the person, it could be every month or it could be quarterly or 6 months, like Miranda said. But every month you would be expected to do some visits. I can guarantee that. So if that's a problem for you, let us know. We'll see if we don't have a job that fits you better.
And Sheila might be willing to share with the other divisions. I am not. So that's just an FYI for everybody on here. Okay. All right.
I said
Okay.
only after we've eliminated all of our positions.
Okay. All right. We can go with that. All right. Okay. Brian.
There are a few questions left, but I'm going to do the last one first, just for anyone that may have to hop off. But it says, I'm not able to see all the chat messages. Can you email the link or the job listings on the DHS website? Yes, for everyone who attended today, we are going to send a follow-up email with the direct links to everything that was shared in chat today, as well as Alan's email address, which he shared a few times. He's going to be busy, I think.
And then we're also going to share a link to our DDS internet page. And we want you to go on there and start looking through there and see all the different types of services and supports that we offer at DDS. So I want you to get that information too. All right, Ryan.
Is this a telework position?
Yes, that's what I was talking about, that hybrid work schedule, where you're going to be working about 50% of your time is going to be working at home, doing the telework here, like we're interacting while we're in our homes today. And then the other half is going to be out doing that field work.
And how often is overtime expected?
Overtime, go ahead, Sheila.
I was gonna say, this is a 40-hour-a-week job. Currently, we do have a couple of overtime plans in place, but it's voluntary. You basically are limited to 40 hours. If for some reason you have to work a little bit overtime, which is pretty rare, you get comp time unless you're on one of our approved overtime plans, in which case then you would get paid time and a half for that time. But we try to limit case managers to the 40 hours as much as possible. Helping people is a very rewarding job, but it's also, you know, a little bit personally taxing to do those kinds of things. So we want people to have time to fill their own cup back up a little bit before they go back out and pour into others.
Great.
Let's say a
Yes.
case manager makes a bad decision regarding a client. Would there be fallout from the decision or no?
No. Sheila, you want to go ahead and go into that? And
I mean-
Sheila, I want you guys to be aware, Sheila is one of our deputy directors. So she is the deputy director over case management. So her words are gold, you guys.
Uh-oh. Now I'm on the spot. So, I mean, you're dealing with people's lives. And so we take it very seriously. However, my mentor always said, as long as nobody dies, we can fix it. And so I do believe that's the culture around here is we try to help you fix things. We are going to make mistakes. There's a lot of judgment calls involved here. So as long as what you're doing, you know, is well-intentioned, you're following best practices, you're doing those kinds of things, we're going to work with you to resolve any kind of issues that happen. You know, I mean, I can't promise you that nobody's ever going to get in trouble for some decision they make, because sometimes people do things that we have to address. But overall, I think we're a very supportive division. I think we help people, and our goal is not, I never am looking for how do I get someone. I'm looking for how do I help someone succeed, and how can we, if there is a problem, if we do make a mistake, how do we fix it? Let's just get in there and fix it. We are supporting people's lives. And like I said, it's not cookie cutter. It's not, you know, measuring for the widget. I mean, it's very subjective from time to time. And so you have to be able to, you know, as long as you are doing what you believe is best for people, you're probably going to be okay. Like we're here to help people. And like I said, we're very supportive, and we're here to help you too. And so, you know, and you have resources. So when in doubt, ask, and we'll help you through it.
Ryan, we only have a couple of minutes left here. So what are our big questions?
When is I'll read the second part. After submitting an application, about how long does it take to get into the hiring process if selected?
What is our average hiring time right now? Sheila or Alan, do you know? It was 2 weeks, I think, at one point in time. So say 14 to 20 days, somewhere around in there. Alan's shaking his head like, yeah, okay. Good. I remembered it right. Thumbs up for me. All right. What else, Ryan?
This next one is a two-parter. Are we linking them to resources or taking them to resources? Like if we transport, will we go in groups of, or will we not have someone close enough to assist?
So you will be linking people to resources, and you will not be transporting clients. That is not part of your responsibility. So you will not transport people on your caseload, but you will be linking them to resources. Okay, good one.
And then is there a retirement plan?
Yes, there is. There is a 401k. Is that correct, Alan?
I believe so. I don't want to misspeak on the benefits, but reach out to me if you have specific questions. We do have a department that's dedicated strictly to benefits. We can get you the exact answer.
Is that it?
I think that was it. They were coming in pretty quick there, but I think I got them all. Anyone else have any questions before we?
I know everybody's
Ryan,
all excited.
You might share the Tell DDS email account, email address too, so that if you have questions later, you can always shoot them to our Tell DDS email, and we'll be happy to get you an answer back.
Lovingly
Well, thank
referring
you,
to as Tell Ryan at OKDHS.
That's right. Ryan is
I'll
he
get them
monitors
there.
that.
Yeah.
Well, guys, it is 12:46. I promise you we're going to be really conscious of that time. So thank you for coming, everyone. We really appreciate you being here and being willing to spend your time with us to learn about DDS and being a case manager. I cannot wait to see all of your names on those applications. We're super excited and ready for you to come join our team. And then you will get a follow-up email with the links to the recording and a link to the application and other information. So have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you guys all in the future.
Thank you,
Bye, everybody. Thank you.
Oh, there's a hand raised.
I saw a hand come up, but I think she did.
Alicia, she's still there? Oh, she left. Okay.
No, she left. So, okay. All right. Bye, you guys.
Good job, Miranda.
Thank you.
Bye.